Hello everyone and welcome back. My name's dustinkreis and today I'm going to talk to you about a very momentous thing that I just went to. I literally just got back a few hours ago from it. I've been trying to sit here and process my feelings and my thoughts on that. And if you can't tell by my t-shirt, which I don't know if I'm in frame, I went to Distant Worlds. And it was so great to be there amongst other fans of this series. And, you know, my wife went into it not really knowing what she was getting into. She's never played a Final Fantasy. The only thing she knows of Final Fantasy is the Spirits Within movie, which she really likes, and just me talking about it and playing it. So we go in there and we sit down, and, you know, there's people there dressed in costumes. You know, there was a girl there in a fantastic Yuna costume. I mean, it was fantastic. You know, somebody was there dressed as Kefka. It was a very good costume as well, which Kefka is one of the harder people to do. But we were just sitting there, and I looked at the merch stand, and they didn't have as much as I thought they were going to have. I thought they were going to have like all the soundtracks for the games and things like that. Really, they just had the Distant Worlds related merchandise. So I picked up the t-shirt, of course, and then I also picked up the program here, the glossy program. And we'll do a little break here, and I'll show you what's inside this glossy program. And it's a really nice piece. So here we go, guys. I'll show it to you. All right, guys. Now I'm going to take you through the program for Distant Worlds. Interestingly enough, this thing is from 2010. So it still refers to Final Fantasy XIV coming out on the PlayStation 3. So that's pretty funny. But anyway, here's the cover. Very sort of simple. And as we open it up here, a little bit of artwork from one of the shows, and then Distant Worlds, music from Final Fantasy. Very sleek, very simple, very, you know, very white. Turn the page here, and Arnie Roth, who is the conductor for the concerts, there he is. And there's the man himself, Uematsu. And then here is the composer for Final Fantasy 13 and 13 too. And then here is a selection of the tracks that, of course we got glare there, let me see if I can block it, there you go, you can see that right there. Collection of the tracks that have been played at the different, different Distant Worlds. So some of them were played there, and some of them, a lot of them were not. Kiss Me Goodbye was played there, and I actually kind of forgot about that song, and I really kind of like it now. So here we go, a thing about Final Fantasy 1, and like I said, very glossy, very beautiful piece here. I could not pass it up once I saw other people have it. Final Fantasy 2, and it does talk a little bit about the games, and then like down here it has like the release dates and things like that, so that's nice. Final Fantasy 3. Final Fantasy 4, most people's favorite Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy V, which I actually need to go back and beat. I have not beat this game. For shame, Dustin, for shame. My personal favorite, Final Fantasy VI, which I think has a very sort of lackluster page. What are you going to do, though? And then we have Lightning. And then that guy from Final Fantasy XIV. Final Fantasy VII. I'm not going to say Final Fantasy VIII. You guys know it's Final Fantasy VIII. Which I'm surprised that there's two pictures of Zidane, because I really feel like there should be a picture of Garnet there, but oh well. And then one of my favorite pictures of Yuna. I really love this scene in the game. And, yeah. 11, which I need to go out and buy 11 and 14, just so I can say I have all the numbered Final Fantasies. Don't know if I ever play them, but... Final Fantasy 12, 13, 14, which is unfortunately a disaster. I don't know, they're trying to fix it, but I don't know if it's going to work. And then sort of the credits. And then the venues from the 2010 tour. And then there's the end. And like I said, yeah, this is a really nice piece, and really glad to have it, and I don't know where I'm going to put it, but I'm going to put it somewhere. But let's get into what everyone wants to know about. What was it like being there? I got to tell you that I went into this thing thinking I'm just going to sit here and enjoy the music, and I had such an experience with it. And really, it's interesting because a couple of games that are not my favorite Final Fantasies really drew the most out of me. You know, I went in there wanting 4 pieces of music to be played. I wanted Terra's theme from Final Fantasy VI. I wanted Distant Worlds from Final Fantasy XI. I wanted Dancing Mad from Final Fantasy VI, and I wanted a Man with the Machine Gun from Final Fantasy VIII. Unfortunately, I only got one of those pieces played because we did not have a choir at the Columbus venue. It was just the orchestra. So no choir, you know, instantly kind of knocks out a lot of tracks that you would want to hear. That being said, they did play some really fantastic pieces. They played the Battle at Big Bridge from Final Fantasy V, which really put the orchestra through the paces. I mean, that's a pretty fast piece of music. One of the big things about this concert was that Uematsu was actually there. And he came on stage several times. But basically the centerpiece of the entire show was he came on and played with the orchestra. And they got out a keyboard for him, and he came up and sat down, and, you know, and the conductor was talking about, you know, what piece are we going to play here? And he said Dark World from Final Fantasy VI. And instantly I was like, that's going to be awesome, but it's kind of a very slow, not uninteresting, but very slow-paced piece of music. So the conductor said he was going to pull out his violin and duet with Uematsu. So this piece of music was one of the most eerily beautiful pieces I have ever heard. They did such a fantastic arrangement of this song. Uematsu sitting there at his keyboard playing the dun 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 part, and then the conductor is playing the piano part with his violin. And I swear, I had goosebumps listening to this. Not just from the fact that Uematsu was on stage, but just the power of that music. I mean, it made my hair raise on my arms. It was so fantastic. What's another thing they played? Oh, the 2 songs that really affected me, and I was really surprised by this. One was Eyes on Me from Final Fantasy VIII. I don't know what it was. They were showing scenes from the ballroom scene. They were showing scenes of Squall and Renoa, you know, collapsing into each other's arms. They showed the space scene when they're in outer space. And I just started to tear up. I actually started to tear up the first song when I started playing the prelude and the Final Fantasy I main theme. There's just something about it, you know. It really was like I was there with my friends. I was seeing my friends go through the years, because in a lot of ways, yes, these are just video games, but they're experiences. You know, it's something that you bring into your life, and it affects you. It really does. And you have all these nostalgic feelings for, you know, going through this cave in Final Fantasy I, or, you know, becoming a paladin in Final Fantasy IV. And I'm not going to lie, I did start to get teared up and choked up. And it wasn't until they played this one piece of music that sent me kind of, not over the edge, but I had to regain my composure a little bit. And that was To Xanarkand from Final Fantasy X. And I don't know what it was, but they started playing that piece of music, and I mean, it's showing Yuna going, you know, the cutscenes with Yuna, and then it shows her dancing on the water. And even my wife was like, "Oh my God, that's gorgeous." And I don't know what it was, but like, I had a single tear running down my face. My nose was all snotty because it was just, when you start getting choked up, you know, your mucous membranes do overtime. And I leaned over to my wife and I was like, "Do you have a tissue?" And she always has tissues. Always has them. She did not have a tissue. She's like, "Oh, sorry, I don't have one." So, desperate times call for desperate measures. I actually took off my shoe and removed my sock and was using that to, you know, wipe my nose as I was snotting all over the place. And I'm just so surprised that it was To Xanarkand that really put me over the edge, because I wasn't the biggest fan of Final Fantasy X. I'll be honest with it. I didn't like Titus. I didn't really, you know, the story was okay. I liked Yuna, and I liked Yuna's story. how the whole game is kind of like a sort of a death march for her. But you know, on the whole, I just didn't like the game that much. But it was just so crazy how you know, that happened. Melodies of Life also got me really choked up. You know, just watching Zidane and Garnet, you know, run around, the scene where she cuts her hair, and just fantastic, fantastic stuff. Surprisingly, Aerith's theme did not make me cry, but they did something very, very tasteful, I think. Of course, it shows a lot of cutscenes while they're playing the music, and then it starts to show the cutscene right before her death. And, you know, it's her there praying, and then, like, the camera pans up to that light in the ceiling, and then instead of Sephiroth coming down with his sword, it just kind of fades to white, and then it cuts to the part where you just see the materia bouncing on the, you know, the stones. And I thought that was, I mean, we don't need to see that again. We know what happens. I thought it was just a very tasteful, sort of beautiful way to really underscore the sadness of the scene, and not the violence of the scene. You know, we don't need the violence. We know the violence happens. And with removing the violence makes it much more powerful when you just watch the materia bounce. You know what I mean? Of course, you need it for the game to understand the narrative, but when in this context, you don't really need it. What else? What else? They did the opera, which, you know, they showed scenes from the opera while they were playing the music and singing the songs, and, you know, everyone got a little bit of a giggle out of watching, like, the 16-bit, you know, conductor and the orchestra playing while the actual orchestra was down there playing. It was a nice juxtaposition, and that was really nice. What else did they play? Oh man, they did the Final Fantasy 14 version of the Chocobo theme, and then it segued into was it Swing a Chocobo or something like that? Where they do kind of a jazzy swing number with it. What else did they play? I know there's two pieces that they played that I want to save until the very end. I can't remember any. I mean, it's there, but it's not there. And the two pieces I want to talk about is, it really kind of felt, except for those three songs that I didn't get to hear, that the show was kind of tailor-made for me. Your brain kind of tricks you, your ego tricks you into thinking that, because they ended the show with Terra's theme. And it was so great the way they did it, because they were playing Terra's theme, and then up on the screen pops up one of my favorite things in video games of all time, and that is the opening credit scene to Final Fantasy VI of the Magitech armor marching on Narsh, and then they use that as the end credits for the show itself. And then, you know, we're all kind of sitting there and we're thinking, you know, there's one piece of music that they forgot to play. And it's a piece that if they did not play, they would be hunted down and skinned. And that is One Winged Angel. And like I said, there was no choir there. So this is where audience participation comes in. They had the audience sing the vocals of One Winged Angel. And I'm usually very skeptical of these things because it never goes well. But I'll be damned if everyone in that venue did not know the words to One Winged Angel. And it sounded phenomenal. Everybody was in sync with each other. Everybody knew how it flowed. Even the part, I mean, they put the words up there so you could sing along. But there was even the part where like, it's just the vocals. There's no words, it's just the vocals kind of doing a run. Even the audience did that without any prompting. It was really kind of amazing. And, you know, I mean, I'm kind of the opinion that One Winged Angel is a bit overplayed. But, I mean, you can't argue the excitement of everyone participating in One Winged Angel. And then, it was kind of funny during the playing of the song, Yui Matsu was out there with, like, these cue cards where it said Sephiroth. So every time that, like, it got to the Sephiroth part, he'd, you know, hold it up to cue the audience. But then he started flipping through it, and it's like a book. And he is, like, written on there talking about how, you know, he's fat now, and he can't eat pizza, and he can't do this, and he can't do that. And then it said, but I promise something. And then he flipped over the page, and there's like a bunch of stuff written. And like I was up in the nosebleeds, which is actually a great place to be for a musical concert because the music rises up to you, and you don't have to look over people's shoulders and everything. But like all the people down below in the below section started cheering really loud. So I don't know what that said, but it got people excited. They're also planning on doing a 25th anniversary CD. They're going to be recording it sometime down the road, but so be on the lookout for that. You guys can find the Distant World CDs. I know you can find them on Amazon. That's why I didn't pick them up there, because the merch booth only took cash. And I might be mistaken, but I thought this was the 21st century, and all I had on me was my credit card. So my wife luckily gave me $30 so I could buy the t-shirt and the program, and so that was really nice of her. But yeah, guys, I'm telling you, if you have a chance to go to this, it's so much more than just the music. Like you're thinking, like, why would I want to pay, this price for the ticket just to go listen to an orchestra play Final Fantasy music? It's so much more than that, and it really takes going to it to realize, because not only are you watching, Square Enix's 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy, in a lot of ways we're watching our own 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy. Like just sitting there and watching all the scenes from the games, it's like going through a yearbook or something. You go back to all those experiences of, seeing things happen in the game for the first time, and it really awakens a lot of nostalgic feelings for it. And if you're like me and you kind of think like the Final Fantasy series has taken a slight turn for the worst here lately, it really is amazing to go back and just see how powerful the feelings for those old games are. And when they bring out Final Fantasy 15, I'll pick it up and I'll play it, of course. But I don't know, there's just something. I was thinking about it while I was watching the videos. Every game sort of had its big scene. Final Fantasy 4, the big thing was like the opening scene with the airships going. Final Fantasy 6 had the opera scene. 7 had the Aerith scene, or even just the opening cinematic is a huge thing people talk about. 8 had the ballroom scene. 9, I completely blank on what 9 was. Shit. Oh well. 10 had Yuna dancing on the water. And then you get to like 12 and 13, and it's like, where's that big moment that everyone talks about? It's just not there anymore. So I don't know. I might be waxing poetic now, but it was an amazing experience. I would not trade it for the world. And if you guys have the opportunity to go to it, because it's one of those things that you'll never be able to replace it. You know what I mean? So yeah. But anyway, guys, that is my thoughts on Distant Worlds. I'm still processing. I'm still thinking like, Yuimatsu was right down there on the stage. He was right fucking there, crazy stuff. It's like when you go to a rock concert. Like when I went to a rock concert and I saw Marilyn Manson on stage, I was like, he's right fucking there. It's hero worship at its best. But definitely go do it, guys. Look into the CDs. Unfortunately, they didn't play all the music I wanted them to play, but what they did play really was really nice. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time.